means. Let me explain what that. You don't know what that means,
An
sugar.
awful lot,
Look,
Danny.
sugar. Shut up, God. Shut up. Let me tell you what that means. It is true that the tree can only hold a finite amount of water. Only a finite amount of water. Okay.
50% water. What are you talking about?
I'm about to mute you. I'm muting you if you don't shut up.
11,000 gallons of
Okay,
water.
you're muted.
I want to hear Danny. It's interesting.
Okay, so I muted you, sugar, because you're a dumbass and you won't listen and you won't learn without me muting you. Okay, so here's what happens. It's true that water, the tree is only going to be able to contain a finite amount of water. Okay, think of a tree as a glass, right? That glass can only hold a certain amount of water. Now, think of a glass that's bottomless in a sense, right? Or like a tube, okay? For the water to be pushed through the tube on the bottom end, right? Water is going to have to exit on the top end, okay? So when the water travels up the tree, okay, and goes to the leaves, right? That water dissipates. Either it's converted to a sugar, right, because it's broken down, or it evaporates. There are many ways for it to go. Those are the two. I think that actually those may be the only two possible ways that I know of. But the point is that the water dissipates when it gets to the from the leaf. That's the analogous to the water leaving the end of one tube, right? Now that water is going to be replaced by the water that's in on the bottom in the tube, such that it would allow water to come from the bottom of the tube. Okay,
Transpiration, right?
Right. It's like a cycle, okay? Now, imagine if we were able to cut off all the evaporation and prevented water from participating in photosynthesis such that is not turned into sugar. Then it would be like the whole assembly line stopped. It would be like covering the top of the pipe. And if you cover the top of the pipe, water cannot be pushed through. Okay? Well, water's not going to be circulating anymore, okay? So yes, one of the reasons that water is able to climb up all this vascular tissue is that the water on the leaves or on the top of the tree is disappearing due to photosynthesis or evaporation. Okay, that's what you're reading. And look, I'm telling you, you should stick with like a
That creates
6-year-old book on
suction.
photosynthesis.
That
Yeah,
creates
it's not exactly suction. I'm just saying that that water disappears and there's new water molecules to replace it. Okay, and then that kind of there's this like indirect assembly line of water that's continually flowing from the bottom to the top and evaporating. It's like a cycle. Okay, and the best analogy I have is that think of a tube of water or a pipe of water that's going from up and down. The water exits the top of the tube by whatever evaporation or and then that new water molecules replace it from the bottom. And that's what sugar was saying.
The
Okay,
thing the thing that sugar linked actually talks about transpiration.
I know, that's where I was learning from.
Yeah,
okay,
it agreed. It sides with Danny, you idiot.
First of all, I believe there's a lot of truth to what you're saying, but I have many contentions. One,
the truth is the thing you linked disagrees with whatever the fuck you're trying to say.
Can you please stop overtalking me right now? Thank you. Okay, one, I read extensively about the transportation of water in the tree. Not one mention of sugar. I don't know what that's about.
Who's talking about sugar?
Without sugar, the tree would not be able to transport water through itself. That's his claim right now, and I'm saying I've seen nothing to support that.
Do you know? Okay, do you know what a cell wall is?
So where the hell is all the sugar coming from? The water out in the woods?
Look, he's making a different claim.
Sugar.
Look, do you know what a cell wall is, Sugar?
No.
Okay, so do you know the difference? So you don't know the difference between an animal cell and a plant cell. One of the biggest differences.
What does that do with your point?
I'm explaining. Look. You said this stuff was more complicated. I can dumb it down for you, but then the criticism is that you made it too simple for me. There's more mystery with respect to it. But I'm trying to explain it on a level in which an adult could get all the relevant information. Or do you want to explain it? Do you want me to explain it like a 2-year-old to a 2-year-old? Okay. The idea is this.
Simple questions. And
okay. Well, let me start with the first thing that you said. You said sugar was necessary for water to be transported throughout the tree. That's indirectly true, and let me explain. Okay, the idea is that when you look at the difference between an animal cell and a plant cell, one of the greatest obvious differences, okay, is going to be the cell wall. Plant cells do not have cell walls Animal cells don't have cell walls. Plant cells do. Cell walls are largely made of a sugar called cellulose. Okay, it's a sugar that we can't digest, right? And when a tree dies, or when you look at wood and you extract all the water and other organelles, what's left is that wall. It's hard, and one of the reasons why, well, biologists would say one of the reasons why we have that cell wall is to be able to hold in all the water and all of the nutrients without it bursting. Okay, because remember, the water trees have to deal with all the water in the ground, right? It's like a whole equilibrium issue, right? So that's to say that it's very sturdy. Cell walls are very, very sturdy. Why? That's why wood is very hard, right? That's just a bunch of sugar cell walls, right? And the idea is that these capillaries, this vascular system, is constructed of the sugar for the most part, of cellulose. Without that sugar, right, there would be no transportation of anything, right? There wouldn't be no tubes. That's to say, there wouldn't be any capillaries to allow water to be transported. So that's what it's. If you're reading something that sugar is required, right, for water transportation, then what I'm translating that to is that yes, the things that the kind of structures in place to allow water to travel through.
it's not transported via chemical means, like i.e. some
Yeah, I know.
chemical.
I already said that. Ludic. But the
Okay,
point is
sorry,
that
man.
yeah, it's passive transport. It's called passive transport. But the
Just
or capillary
mechanical.
action. Yeah,
Mechanical.
yeah. It's not chemical. But the idea is that the you need those structures in place, and those structures are made of sugar, and it's just basically if I want to pass water through a pipe, you need the copper or whatever kind of metal or plastic to be able to get the pipe so you can transport the water. Okay, that would be the analogy. Okay, I'm done.
I'm reading right now about the growth of cell walls in
Didn't
plants, and it's
listen to a
called
single thing.
acid growth. It's called
Stop.
acid
Look.
growth.
Stop reading. It's confusing you.
Do you know? You just made a claim about the cell walls of plants and how they grow, and I'm asking you, do you know how the cell wall of a plant grows through acid growth?
Well, do you know? I mean, are you just asking me how you get cells?
It grows from hormones. Okay,
Oh
buddy.
my God! You don't know what you're talking. Stop it! Stop,
You know
sugar.
what?
You've
You know
got to stop.
anything?
You don't know what you're talking about.
You're the tree
You don't know
expert.
what you're
Do you know
talking about.
anything about tree hormones, Danny?
Okay. Do you want me to explain this to
What
you?
the fuck
Or
is
you,
what the fuck's
God,
the
I
point?
mean, I'm not like for real. The idea, yes, there.
The biology
Part-
teacher, sugar.
Look, the
Great.
idea
I'm
is
asking simple questions. He talked about plant cell walls and how they're made of sugar, right?
there
And
are
therefore,
different Okay, look, to be able to have cell walls, you need cells, right? That's to say, you have to have mitosis. Okay, cells need to be able to divide and create new cells. What stimulates mitosis could be a hormone, could be a chemical, some kind of feedback process or biochemical process such that it stimulates growth, and hormones can do that. Right now,
yes,
I'm not knowledgeable about what kinds of hormones that plants or even you have. I
right. Me
know,
neither.
but
Me neither. I'm learning all
but
about it.
okay, but the point is
Turns out the
irrelevant. You're
plants have a
changing.
lot
Look,
of
sugar,
hormones.
you're
Very
changing. Why are you talking
you
like
know much
this?
about. I don't
If you
think
were
you
a
know much
student,
about.
look, if you were a student, I'd just send you out of the room. Like you behave worse than a
Why?
13-year-old. You behave
Question.
way worse than a 13-year-old.
Just
The
sit.
nuns would make
We're
me
going on.
stand in the corner and press
You're
my
going on
nose
this
against the
very
wall.
complicated explanation about trees' work, and I was simply asking you the role of hormones in all this.
You're changing the subject, right? You're escaping the criticisms, right?
You just
Do you
said
admit?
that trees, they need sugar to make their cell walls. Actually, it turns out that that's not so true.
No, no, you're
They,
so stupid. You're so stupid, right? Look, obviously, well, why? How can someone be this dumb? Like, look, listen
so
to what you're saying. Of course, look,
auxins,
you need sugar. Shut up, shut up. You need sugar. Sugar is a necessary condition, okay, for creating cell walls. But for creating cell walls, right, you need to be able to produce. You need to go through mitosis, and sugars are not hormones. They don't stimulate growth themselves. So what are you talking about?
complicated, Danny. You're offering this very simplistic
Well, look, this
story.
I'm look. I'm not. I'm there. There are two things. I'm not I'm not an expert, like I'm not a PhD, so I'm not going to know all the names of the chemicals and stuff. And there's that, and there's also you're this dumb to where I have to dumb things down for you, or else you get confused. Look what you do when you try to read one of these articles. You come to the false conclusions because you don't know how to read the article. So why would I overcomplicate things when you can't read a basic scientific article?
So you agree though that a tree's cells are made of hormones?
No, that's not what I said. No, that's stupid.
So you don't believe that a
Cells
tree is
cells are primarily made out of sugars and proteins, right? And they consist of a lot of water. Okay?
Their composition
Don't
certainly.
argue with me. I'm not in the business of being argued with. It's like I don't want to argue with a child.
Well, okay, we can stop. In this general chat, some knowledge that you could maybe learn.
Can we move the shovel up the list today?
You're not using your nice mic today, so.
I never met someone, right? I mean, where reading scientific journals or articles actually makes them dumber.
You think you might have sugar a little too high on the list, Danny?
I mean, it's just so backwards, right? I would actually recommend that he gets like a tutor if he wants to learn these things. Otherwise, he's going to read all these articles and just get dumber.
Danny, you did your
Well,
whole
they're just
little,
attempts. Yeah.
you did your little parade, trying to flex your knowledge. It was very impressive, but I'm not an idiot.
Everything that I said is known by 80% of the people in this room, and 95% of what I said is known by how many people in the room? There's only one person that doesn't know that. Know about.
The average middle school student can recite this shit.
Yes,
That's not
is
true
what
at
I'm trying to say.
all. That's not true at all. And
I teach
also,
them.
But Danny, I'm a smart
Teach
person.
them.
When you're trying to do your flex thing, I know that it's more complicated. I
No,
know
the
there's
point
more.
is I'm not flexing.
Sugar. Your biggest problem is a methodological.
All
I
it
mean,
is, all
What
it
it
is.
is that when you go reading and trying to learn something, you're not actually trying to learn something, approaching it from an objective stand.
Is this better, BB?
Delicious.
Whoops.
Yeah, look, Danny's not trying to flex on you. He's trying to explain it to you. That's the difference.
Then how come his explanation can't address plant hormones?
Well, look,
No,
hold on. Let me actually address that. The reason why you see that as a problem is because what you do in a conversation is you bring up a point, someone will spend their time explaining to you why you're wrong or what the explanation is, and then you completely do not address it and then move on to another point. So by the time you get to something like fucking plant hormones, the people who you're talking to are just absolutely exhausted speaking to you because it's not worth it. If Danny were to bear down, like let's say he was an expert in hormones with regard to trees, and to be like, hey, by the way, the hormones are X, Y, and Z, your response would be something like, well, what about tree trunk length? Do you get it now?
Danny was simply no. Of course, I disagree with that. But of course, Danny, was just saying that it's impossible for trees to, absorb carbon through their roots because of sugar. He made it up. I mean, honestly,
Sugar, to be perfectly frank with you, it makes it very difficult that Danny was speaking to you, and he was like being very clear, patient with you, and as he's explaining things to you, you're sitting there reading other stuff. Or picking your nose.
I heard everything.
No. One thing is, no. You weren't paying attention to what he was saying to you, and then you recite things back, and you didn't pay attention to what he was saying.
I'll tell you what Danny said.
No, hold on. So what you just said right now is not exactly what he was saying to you, which then leads to for you to say things that don't actually make sense, and this is what frustrates Danny.
Well, then I'll go ahead and give my summary of what I was hearing him saying. The roots of a tree don't have certain organelles that are vital for creating sugar, right, from carbon, right? Am I right to this point? And that he was saying this is vital for the transportation of water throughout the whole tree.
Wait, what's vital? What's vital for what?
You
I'm
said
saying that you didn't understand
let
me.
him finish, Danny. Let him finish. Let him finish to tell us what it is that allegedly you said. Go ahead and tell us what it is that you heard Danny explain to see if you took all the information that Danny said.
Thank you.
Please go
May I
ahead,
continue?
Sugar.
That there are
Thank you. Yes,
organelles.
please.
That there are organelles in the trunk of a tree that aren't in the root of the tree, and these organelles are vital in turning carbon into sugar, and that this sugar is vital for creating all the cell walls and the tree. The starter of it. And then he was getting into, how the pressure works in transporting the water through the vascular system of the tree, which I agree with totally. I think there's a pressure mechanism involved, the same way the pressure is involved in the human vascular system and transporting water throughout the tree. I agree with that.
That's not true. Heart's responsible for that pressure.
Don't say, Danny. Don't say,
Look,
don't
I
say
have
it.
to
Don't
correct
say
him, or
it. Don't
I
say
can't.
it.
Look,
Don't say it.
BB,
Don't say
one
it. Don't
second. No,
say it,
BB.
Danny.
No,
No,
BB, you don't
Danny.
understand.
No,
No,
Danny.
BB,
Don't
BB,
say it. I want
BB.
him to say it.
No,
No,
BB,
Danny.
you don't understand.
say
I
it,
can't
Danny.
keep
I
up.
do
All right,
understand.
BB,
I know,
can't
darling.
keep up
Hold
with all
on.
this bullshit, BB.
I know, baby. I
Okay,
want
so
him to
why are you
say
making me
it
listen to this bullshit?
because I wanna
Shut
call
up,
him
lady.
out,
Baby, you're
babe.
pissing me off. You're pissing me just as much as Sugar. The idea is that if I can't keep up with bullshit after bullshit after bullshit claim, I can't address it all. I have to go one by one. If you give him a monologue, I'm not going to be able to address anything.
What I'm trying to do is
Now,
call
if you
him
want
out,
to fucking
babe.
let him monologue, and let him monologue.
I'm not
If you're
trying
not
to let
interested in the
him.
conversation.
I'm not trying to let him monologue, Danny. I'm trying to call him out. That's what I'm trying to let him. That's what I'm trying to get him to do. Because you taught him all these things, and I'm trying to ask him to show that he didn't remember the things that you taught him. That's exactly what I'm trying to do. I don't want him to monologue.
So can I continue? And
What
Danny
was
was
the
saying
name?
that this.
What was the
Danny
name?
was saying this is an energyless process that's much like a sponge system, and that the evaporation of the water then leads to this filling of
There was no feelings.
Summary. That's the summary, right?
There
Of what
were,
he was
no,
saying, right?
no. There was no feelings. There was no
Who
feelings.
said anything about
There was no
feelings?
fifis.
I never said the word
What was the
feeling.
name? You started talking about pressure. He didn't talk
Fills
about
in
pressure.
when the water evaporates. There's a filling effect. This is what he's saying.
No, he didn't.
He didn't say.
Oh, then that part, I would like. I need to hear that part again.
Chum, did you get
So this is the point, and this is
Yeah.
why Danny is so upset with you, Sugar. This is exactly what I was alluding to.
No,
He
because that
spoke
point
to
was the
you
most, but not the
very
most
Sugar. I'm
important point.
speaking. I'm speaking, Sugar. He spoke to you very clearly. He has been speaking to you for a while, taking his time, trying to explain things to you. And all you do is you start reading other things as somebody's taking their time to tell you something, and you come back on the mic, and then you go, no, because I'm reading an article here, and it says How
just
could you be so
recited 90%
Sugar?
of everything
Why
you said.
Sugar? When
verbatim.
you engage with somebody in a conversation, the idea is not to pick up a phone and start looking through something. You engage with that person and you speak with them, and you're very rude. Like, I don't understand why you do that.
I just recited 90% of everything he said, and
You
you're saying
did
I don't
not,
listen.
Danny.
What did I miss?
Sugar, you did
Tell
not.
me what I missed. Tell me what I missed. Go ahead.
Oh,
I mean, I mean, like, you want the recording, you can.
Tell me what I missed. Anybody right now? Did I not get 90% of it? Did I not just get 90%
I think everybody that's here right now can actually attest that you did not.
Okay, tell me what I missed, please. Tell me what I missed.
I don't want to repeat everything that Danny repeated. Everybody heard it.
That's right,
were not.
because you weren't paying attention and you don't know what you're talking about.
This is why Sugar must die. This is why he must die.
Please, Molly, what are you doing?
I'm putting in my 2 cents. Didn't you hear it?
Molly, you can't be saying things like that.
Why? Discord, in-game, however you want to play it. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, please don't do that, darling. Please don't do that, darling. Please.
I respect that, and I will refrain from doing it again.
Thank you, darling.
You're welcome, darling. Ooh.
I have never heard Danny that pissed off. Jesus.